And now we're off the line again.
That's right. Yeah, as you punt. Well, we're not spreading disinformation yet, are we? We haven't cut to a commercial break. We don't have an editor, so that's not going to happen.
Large numbers. I thought of it.
Large numbers. Where do minuscule probabilities collide with the law of large numbers?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, because a minuscule amount is just the inverse of a large number.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but like when my probabilities are so low, I can still have a law of large numbers that will overcome the low probability curve.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a mind blower to me.
Yeah, we humans, among other.
Cognitive dissonance from the CIS guy. Go.
Who are somewhat numerate. We like to think that we're good at like counting. We like to think that, so we recognize that the distance between 1 and 2 is approximately the same as the distance between 2 and 3, and between 3 and 4, and mathematically, super, right?
Without implying yes.
And we think we're really
infinites in between.
We believe that we are really good at managing that. We are lying to ourselves. We actually we have to learn how to think linear for numbers. We're actually more wired to think logarithmically for numbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so
1, 2. Well, I mean, almost spiral guy. Fibonacci.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like almost that way.
Yeah. So if I ask you to say, what's a number between 1 and 10, you'll pick a number that's between 1 and 10. And if I pick a number that's kind of close to halfway between 1 and 10.
Kind of half. I can do that almost exactly, but
sure. Pick an integer somewhere between 1 and
5. I would
good.
Say 5.
Perfect. All right. And and you can sort of look at that and go, so 5 is about halfway between 1 and 10, and so you get like the 1 to 10 range, and then you got like the 10 to 100 range, and then 100 to 1,000 range.
Yeah.
And you can sort of pick the halves in there, and I go, so you got a 1, 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, literally, million, and then you go all the way up to trillion. And what's between a million and a trillion? And most people will say a billion. And that's not in the middle between a million and a trillion.
No.
That is way closer to a million than it is to a trillion.
Yeah.
It is less than half a trillion is a billion, but in your
like
mind
1% of a trillion.
But it's a tenth of a percent.
Is it 1 billion? Is it
1,000 billion is a trillion?
1,000. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
I never had enough zeros.
But when people start looking at these giant numbers, you go, okay, well, it's like a million, a billion, a trillion.
But
right.
It would be like 500 billion would be halfway between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in our minds, we go 1, 2, 3. So
yeah.
So million, billion, trillion seems like they're the same distance apart, but they are not.
Fun. Do we do the same prep work for the shows? Because I watched a Vsauce thing on our misconceptions of our own time, which is really cool. How there's short time, short long, and long shorts.
Yep.
So and then there's short time, which was invented basically by television. So we have long time in the primary phase. So you sit there in your lineup at the DMV or whatever, right?
The lineup.
So you just stand there and you're waiting and doing nothing, and it feels like forever doing the nothing. Oh, better. You're flying back to the UK, and so you spend all that time at the airport, you spend all that time in the customs, and it's like an extra 6 hours just to do the flight and transport and everything else. And then you spend 48 hours in the UK, and it goes by, boom, boom, boom. You're hanging out with your buddies, you're checking everything out. So the long time is the waiting. In the moments, the long time is the waiting, and the short time is the visiting. Now, you go back a year from then, and you're telling the story to your friends. You don't tell about the 6 hour extra wait time in the lineup. That was nothing. That was a nothing by comparison to the trip. So that's the short time.
Yep.
And the long time is describing all of these events that flew by for you. That's the bulk of your story.
Yeah.
So it's weird that the human brain can do that so quickly. And then short is you're watching television. So you're not really doing anything much like waiting in line. but you're not paying attention to the not doing anything. So the time goes by quickly, but telling about it also goes as quickly.
Yeah. It reminds me of the I don't know if it's an apocryphal story at all, of
The apocryphal stories.
I love these.
My favorite is Peter and the anthropomorphic cross, but go ahead. You pick your apocrypha.
Well, this is the one about.
Oh, bye, Jess. Thanks for your help, buddy.
That's where they
Jess
were
feels so awkward when we reference him on the show.
where they were measuring how our perception of the passage of time, and they gave people these wristwatches with like big numbers on them, and then they pushed them backwards off the equivalent of a tall building onto a safe, cushy landing thing.
Yeah.
And it was
watch the time.
so they could watch the time and how it took a very long time to fall,
as your adrenaline kicks in and your eyes bug open.
and lots of things happen.
Yeah.
And so they could see objectively that time was not time had not passed, but when they recalled the event, it took longer, which leads to the notion of the way that we store the events in our brain is and actually reconstruct. We store them at varying rates.
This is where our human brains have a real problem.
But we can only recall at a single rate.
Correct.
Right.
And we take it all in, but we can only spit it out one at a time.
Which is why summers when you were a kid lasted forever, because your brain was storing more slices.
It's also the percentage of your life that you've lived.
So
like when you're 9, and you're turning 10.
Yep.
Right? That year is 10% of your life. Right? So a lot happens with 10% of your life. When you're 39 and you're turning 40, that year is
much less
significant. So it doesn't.
However, it depends on what you do.
Where human brains cap out on that is 10 years. Right? Your year to years feel quicker as the older you get until you hit about 50. And then decades seem to match up about the same amount of time in your recollections.
Sort of logarithmically.
Almost. But
semi-logarithmically.
But you can only remember, only the decades matter after a certain point, right? Each year happens really quickly. But I remember the 80s. I remember the 90s.
Yeah, well, and that's actually an effect of this same memory thing, because what you're actually doing is when your adrenaline kicks in, when you really need to pay attention to your environment because you are at danger, rolling a car, for example, that it takes like 5 minutes for it to make all the way onto the roof, and then another 5 minutes to get all the way back onto the wheels.
If you're in the car, when someone's watching on the outside, you're like, holy crap, I hope they're okay.
Yeah, but when I was
say holy crap, I hope they're okay is as quick as the accident happens.
But being on the inside of that car, terrifying experience as it was, super slow motion. But it's not that it's actually going slowly. It's that my brain is actually kicked into overdrive to make as many observations as possible. Right? So when I recall it after the fact, I can only recall at one speed. So each slice of playing a movie in slow-mo is what's happening.
Cool. Yeah, no, we're still on.
Hey!
I hadn't looked in a while. You can cheat. You can look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
I can kind of look over your shoulder that way. Look, hi, Facebook.
Glad to see you there. Leave us a message.
Yeah, leave us a message on Facebook. Jess FM. You can haunt this Facebook page. Please interact and engage. Give us the thumbs up. Give us the likes. If this was YouTube, I'd say subscribe and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, your subscription means nothing.
Sure.
But YouTube algorithms are so broken, and I'm really enjoying a guy right now, Spiffing Brit, who figured out the SEO of their community tabs and explained it to every other YouTuber in a YouTube video of how to maximize. Basically, he runs little game things, and he says, this game is perfectly balanced with no exploits, and then he totally exploits it and unbalances the game.
Yeah.
So he put up a video that said, YouTube is perfectly balanced with no exploits. So now he has broken YouTube and is exploiting it.
Nice.
He can get millions of views on his community tab versus the 1.9 million subscribers he has, but he only picked up the last million since he started exploiting YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I've actually been a fan of Tom Scott for quite some time.
Yes.
Things you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And a bunch of other things. He did a brilliant thing where, because he didn't necessarily film all his stuff all at once, all in the same time, but he wanted to maintain some sense of continuity, he only ever filmed stuff while wearing red T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where he actually bought a gross of red T-shirts.
So that they wouldn't look faded or wrong.
So they never looked faded and wrong. He never had to worry about what to wear. And and didn't matter what day. He was always wearing the red T-shirt, so you couldn't tell that it was a different day. Super brilliant and super simple and very thrifty.
Yeah.
Right?
When you buy a gross of a single item, and they are more affordable.
So he's
$2 a shirt.
He's written a little bit of code here and there. He's done a few things. He's been involved in a few things. How Northern Are You? Which was on something that was like a precursor to BuzzFeed kind of thing. It was it was one of the first viral quizzes before social media. So you had to email the link to somebody.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he was on this team that built this thing, and it was like, where are you from in England? And it was like a quiz by.
Oh yeah.
Do you boil your potatoes for 45 minutes or 50 minutes? Or whatever it is for England, boiled plainly with salt, a l'anglaise.
I was going to say 90 minutes.
We don't mash them so much as boil them into a stew.
That's correct, yes. That way they're moist.
Moist.
So I can put brown sauce on it.
What's it made of? Brown.
Brown.
Awesome. So he's done this sort of stuff for quite some time, and he was talking about APIs, application programming interfaces. Mm-hmm. This was the thing that in the fledgling days of the internet, like 2000.
Yes.
I mean, it was.
I get what you're saying. The fledgling days of public internet.
Well, in the fledgling days of Internet 2.0.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
When everybody said we're going to open this up and we can use the parts from everywhere and do all the things, and we can do all this great stuff. They did, and it didn't work very well. It kind of did.
Who's maintaining, right? That's the trick.
Everybody maintains, but everybody wants to do something, but nobody was making any money. But it costs. They were spending money.
There's the big deal. I was like,
but not
not costing anything.
But it wasn't. It wasn't not costing anything, right?
Stuff ain't free yet.
So you make these application programming interfaces, and then you charge a subscription to use them.
Yeah.
Right. That's the model how a lot of these companies make money. So and if in a good world, it's nice. You get free range map games using Google Maps with their open API, and in a bad sense of the world, you get the Cambridge Analytica scraping all your personal information and selling it to the highest bidder or any bidder, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And visiting the same website makes it happen.
Yeah, and
not always. I'm just
right.
It can.
Yeah, but it's the same APIs that do this thing. Right. We used to have to do this horrible way, which with a scraper. So you load up the web page, and then you read through the web page and find the bit of information you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
And then you load it up about somebody else, and you look in the exact same spot and get the information about them, and you just do this 100 million times, and you very slowly scrape all the stuff out, and that's inefficient. But the company that has the platform provides a programming interface. So you don't have to load up the web page, read through the web page, find the thing, and pull it out. You just say, hey, give me this piece of information.
How many people are interested in dial soap? Boom!
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's super cool.
Yeah.
And it can be used for good, and it can be used for evil. It can be used for whatever you want to use it for.
It is a hammer.
But yeah, it is. And so what Tom Scott did was he has a YouTube video, and the title of the video is, this video has, and some number of views. And more or less within a couple, it's always the same. The title of the thing is the same as the number of views that video has had.
Yeah, very good.
Because he's got a script that runs that every hour or every once a minute or once an hour or once a day or whatever it is, it goes and looks up how many views that video has had and automatically changes the title of the video.
Cool.
So so it's almost always relatively accurate. It's got like 2 million plus views, and the day that I saw it, it was bang on. The number of views that it had was the number of views that it said that it had. Now that's super cool.
I watch a lot of this kind of YouTube amazement. To me, it's the production value that hurts me and keeps me away from it. Because these guys have multiple computers to make this happen at the same time, right? Like some dude will be streaming, so he's clearly got a computer dedicated to this high-tech game he's playing. Then he's obviously going to have something else to run his Streamlab or whatever he's using. And then he's also got to have the chat going so he can interact with the chat that's going on. So these one-man shows that I watch are, to me, mind-boggling. Like, I don't have like a little button I can push that gives me like Canadian audience applause or something. I think that'd be great, though. Hey, let's have a round of applause, and then that sort of like definition studio audience applause.
Yeah, I was going to say, cut to the old people in black and white clapping, a la Monty Python.
Yeah. Or the classic head smack sound of Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the kicker on that particular
optimizationism.
The kicker on that particular video is he filmed most of it. Well, pretty much all of it is he's a talking head for this thing. Well, torso and head, like like belly button up.
Wow, pretty good.
He's standing in front of the cliffs of Dover.
Oh yes.
Which are chalk. It's giant.
For anyone that cares, chalk is the carcass of the coccolithophore. You don't know how many millions of years those poor little buggers had to die to make that. Go ahead.
And it's
microscopic.
And it's continually collapsing. It is in a continual state of engaging in its role in entropy.
Yes, good for it.
And his whole point was, it doesn't matter what you build or how generally cooperative your internet things are or whatever. Eventually, somebody will stop maintaining that code, and eventually that counter trick will stop working. It is within the context of social networking and social everything. Mm-hmm. It will experience the entropy. It will stop working, right? And I think cycling back to your distributing the decentralization. And while that's wildly optimistic, and probably a good thing, I'm not saying it's just because it's a rose tinted glasses world that you are
looking at it through.
Doesn't make it a bad thing. It changes Bakewells.
I'll remember to chew.
Thank you. Our audience thanks you.
I know, right? Now that I'm like in public, it's got to be.
So I think that's good. One thing that centralization gives us is one focal point of energy to maintain system integrity. When we decentralize, I think what we get is we get a lot of energy that's being used, where there's great ideas or stupid ideas or whatever it is, and everybody has their part to play, but that's a bunch of points of entropy, all working on the same system at the same time.
So if I were to flip this around, it would be, from my pessimistic point of view now, then I guess, because a centralized thing might be better.
Maybe. I'm not saying that either. But
No, I know. But if it were, then a centralized global government would stop the entropy of each nation.
Well, that's the idea behind it, but I don't think that works either. I think there does need to be. I think that entropy is unavoidable. Right? We can't. There are no perpetual motion machines. There's.
No, because they can't start themselves, and that's the trick.
Yeah. So. I don't know.
No, it's the starting yourself to win the money. If it starts itself and continues to run forever, you win the money.
That seems pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the starting yourself.
Well,
it's the overcoming momentum.
Like even if you could apply energy to a system and it never loses energy, that would also be really cool.
That would be awesome,
right? But that's not going to happen.
No,
right?
Not right away.
So we.
I don't know enough about quantum physics to say yes or no to that.
Yeah, I'm still going to say it's probably still a no. We can't do it. But if we look at governments, it takes a lot of energy, focused energy, put into a system to change the government of the system.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not saying that if hypothetically we remove the United Conservative Party, UCP, from Alberta,
Oh, I
and
see UP.
and replace it with the Alberta Party, for example.
I put their poster on my lawn this year just to wake people up.
Yeah.
Well, last election.
And it's okay. You know what? I picked them. You know, or the Communist Party of Alberta. I'm just picking one at arbitrary.
You betcha.
That's not changing the government. That's changing the people who are in the roles that control the government.
Yes.
Right?
The government is the people that fill the role are what we get to pick.
Yeah. So if we want to literally change the mode of government in Alberta intentionally, and get a king, the king of Alberta, that takes a lot of energy. And then once it's there, it takes energy to maintain that.
And even considerably more. Well, the same energy it takes to implement the monarchy would be just as much energy to displace it once again.
Exactly. Right. So once you get that system rolling in a particular way, you need to put fresh energy into it to keep it going. If you happen to like democracy,
it's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
I like to think I matter.
But if democracy is a thing you care about, you need to put energy into democracy. That means you need to do things like, I don't know, vote.
Right. This is my dream. So I was talking about spiffing Brit and breaking YouTube. I want to break Elections Canada and have 100% voter turnout. They are so ill-equipped, they would run out of ballots. They do not have it. They don't prepare for it. Let us break Elections Canada and everybody vote.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. If 100% of voters voted, they would run out of ballots. I bet you they don't print enough. I bet you they don't on purpose. Because they know people aren't coming. So let's fix that. Let's break them. There's my optimism for the upcomings. Is in our next election, everyone will frickin' vote. Everyone that's bitched about wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. Everyone that's bitched about driving, not driving. Pipeline, not pipeline. Anyone that's bitched, I don't care. Vote.
Hey, we could start small. We could break our civic election.
That would so wreck it. They don't print enough ballots either.
No.
And we get a chance for a new mayor.
Oh, yeah.
And that only ever happens if a mayor resigns.
In Lethbridge, typically. It's actually sort of true most places. It's rare that an incumbent mayor gets turfed.
Deposed? Yes.
Maybe turf is not the right word I want to use.
So I went with depose.
Because unfortunately, turf now has a different meaning.
Yes.
And weird. I'm saying turf as in TURF.
Yes, as opposed to yeet.
Yeah, right?
You don't want to yeet the mayor. Go ahead. I know.
Jeet yet?
So
you want to?
Yeah. Funny to me, I consider a young fella, put on, hey, it's old guy Milo Smith here, wondering what the hell a pog is. And I'm like, do you mean 80s pog, or do you mean something that I should yeet? And so he just shook his head at me because he knows I'm older than he is.
Yeah.
And was stunned, I think. Stunned that I know such words. I'm stunned that I know such words. But that's okay.
Yeah. I maybe got lost at YOLO.
No, come on. You only live once. That's one of
I know what that one means.
But it's an actual acronym. It actually, YOLO if you say it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It could be YODO.
Yeah. But Spebsqua, not
Spebsqua.
It's not an acronym.
It's not.
Yeah.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was the best joke name that they could come up with.
And it stuck.
Because in the United States, at the time when the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America was formed, there were an awful lot of committees of government that had really, really, really long names.
Oh, yeah. The Committee for the
Committee
Study
for
of
the
Interdimensional whatevers, yeah.
Yeah, it was like with great long names like that, they were always being bandied about in the news by their initials because the names are so ridiculously long. And these men standing on a rooftop singing thought, hey, we need a name for this. Let's make it ridiculous like these guys because we're doing something ridiculous. We're singing songs that are old-timey songs. In the 1940s, they were singing old-timey songs from the 1920s
I know.
and 10s.
There's a fun thing. So this back to the Vsauce moment. So...
soon may the weathermen come to bring us sugar and tea and rum.
Right? So somebody like John Adams was alive when Harriet Tubman was born.
Oh, yeah, right.
And before Harriet Tubman died, Ronald Reagan was born. Just, where your brains are going, what the? Because of where they sit in your memory, right? So that was another thing, is where you mark them in your memory. So I know this Christmas you got a CD of color of our dad at 1.
Yep.
It made some of those people new again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to see Grandpa was like, oh, right?
Yep.
Like, oh my God. Right? So now that's a time lock for me. Now I can't not see him then until I see a new picture of him. Right?
Right.
So to me now, he's that somewhat 30-year-old. Right? Like, it was weird. It was
Yeah.
weird.
So, well, you said Ronald Reagan, and I was like, yeah. So most of us, your age and you and me, our age, only think of old man Ronald Reagan barely falling asleep at the wheel of driving the United States.
As opposed to
1940s Ronald Reagan,
of all the
who was
recruitment films.
who was the perfect male specimen of the year,
Well, yeah, that's why he got all the recruitment films.
who very nearly had a role that Humphrey Bogart got. Right? I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't such a far go to think of, other than their own stupid law that, all their early presidents weren't from there, but whatever. Arnold Schwarzenegger for
Yeah.
president, right? To me, that wouldn't have been a bad choice.
No.
He went there for the American dream. Who else would be better to ensure such a thing as opposed to someone that was born into it? Because then it's more
Entitlement. Yay!
Yay! Yeah. Yes and no. Yeah, I know. It's like a previous ownership thing. It's a weird thing to me.
I'm wondering, how did we get here?
Oh, I know, right? At what time? Oh my God, we have like 15 minutes left. This is our quaint little show that we like to call
How did you get there?
How Did You Get There? A show where we talk about ideas, thoughts, and opinions so we can be critical, if we want.
We can be.
We will be. We might
Probably.
be. Usually are. Basically, we throw out some topics and we just talk about how they effect us. The effect of the impact had a lasting affect.
Yes.
There you go.
And we want to be critical of these ideas, not necessarily of the people who hold them.
Although, if you feel criticized or your feelings are hurt, you should call us at 403-942-0068. You could follow us at How Did You Get There, but just the first letter of each of those words, YQL, at How Did You Get There, YQL.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to jot it down next time,
Yep.
so I don't have to imagine and visualize HDYTGYQL every time.
If you don't think that we're hard hitting enough, let us know.
Yeah, we can
hit harder.
We pull back. We're pretty tame here. We try, although we know some offenses will be taken, we do not deliberately try to offend.
And we also don't try not to offend.
No, well, that's the bigger deal, and that's where we know they're,
Yeah.
we're not so worried about it.
It's not so hard to offend me.
Right? It's like, if I were a vegan, what kind of problems do I have with humanists? Right?
From the planet Vega?
Yes. Animal rights for all animals, including humans.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite Twitter gynecologist.
Nice.
Phrases I never thought I'd ever actually say out loud.
I believe he refers to it as twatter. Go ahead.
I'm sure Dr. Jen Gunter would definitely love that.
Woo, woo.
Yes, I know, right?
I'm sorry, audience. Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. Yeah. So, some pro-forced pregnancy guy.
I get what you're saying. Go ahead. Yeah.
Pro-lifer. Was demanding.
Sorry, misogynist idiot. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he's a misogynist idiot too.
Yeah.
Was demanding to know when a fetus becomes a human and entitled to rights. Just leave that alone for a sec.
Yep.
All right.
I accept the premise.
On the grounds that an unborn human, pre-human, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So every time I rip a load,
Well,
going to hell. I got it. I get it.
No, so after that, conception, right? So then from the
Like at 2 cell.
the
is
embryo-
he asking legit?
embryo-
Is it like 2 cell, 4 cell? At what stage? Is that what he's legitimately asking?
I think that's what he's attempting to legitimately ask.
Wow.
Because he wants to be morally and ethically justified in saying no abortions. Right?
He
Which
could be as soon as he adopts every unwanted baby. That's easy.
well, or if he is so pro-life, and every life is entitled to live, he has 2 perfectly good functioning kidneys.
Oh, he could give one away.
He should have already given one away.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I guess.
If you are pro-life,
Yeah,
you should do everything in your power to make sure that life persists. You should give up one of your kidneys, because you can live with just one, and you could save somebody's life.
In a moment of outrage that I've had this week, I've had a few. The anti-abortion people are allowed to put that on my buses again. They won their court case. So clearly, I am just going to have to money up and get a ban coat hanger ad so that people will actually go to responsible abortion clinics as opposed to some back alley.
Yep.
Yeah. Stop the coat hanger. Allow abortion.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, but this was where I was at. It's like, I have now been given this marvelous tool. If you are so pro-life, why do you still have 2 kidneys when you could have saved a life with one?
True enough. I think they're either going to have to acknowledge that they're just anti-abortionists and not pro-lifers.
Yep.
Or donate a kidney.
Yep.
And one eyeball.
And half a liver. Mm-hmm. And you can actually, over time, you can actually donate half your liver several times because it grows back.
It does. It's one of those things. That's where alcoholics can succeed if they stop drinking. That part of their body will fix.
Yep. Yeah,
the brain not so much. But, but the liver's pretty good.
Yep. It ain't the life. It's the liver.
I mean, in Shakespeare's time, that was the seat of your passion.
Right? Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone knows. I'm in love with her. Look at my liver pulse. My liver quivers.
Oh, because it rhymes.
It's got to be true.
And it's liver and quiver.
It's got to be true. So that one caught me off guard, that people are allowed to ram their beliefs down my face without me saying, I'm sorry, are you here to defend that position?
Well, but I mean, that's the same of all advertising, right?
No, but they are there to defend their position. They do have a customer complaints line that I can call. There is a fairness in advertising, but apparently that didn't work out this time, because I don't believe that level of advertising is fair. I don't think dehumanizing people is fair. I think maybe that's the tactic I should take. When I look at the Canadian standards in advertising, is it fair for them to demoralize, dehumanize people that have made a secular choice?
Right, but
But I'm
on the side
at what
of
point I'm not going to answer this question. Dare not. But
Like,
at
this
what
is
point does the human become a human?
well, we're going to say that it's a fetus until it is expelled,
At the time of birth,
and then it becomes a
entity?
its own entity.
Because it could be like a stillborn or whatever. I don't want to.
Until
And
then,
those people are I feel so bad for them.
until then,
Yeah.
you might feel a lot of things about it. I feel a lot of things about my computer.
Yep.
Like, I sometimes think that my computer is alive and cares about things and has feelings, and I could hurt those feelings.
Well, not just that.
But just because
like
I think
it could catch a virus,
just because I think it doesn't make it true.
No, yeah, hey.
Right?
I believe that is one of my favorites of like what normally, colloquially, right? If I'm talking with someone, the argument I get back is typically argument from incredulity. I can't believe it. There's no way. Right?
Then that must be true.
Well, that's like, it's one of those things. And it's difficult to counter because it's one of those, it's like telling the child there is no Santa.
Is that because we're terrible at countering? One,
Yes,
2, 3, many?
1, 7, 11, 14.
Yeah. It's difficult to counter the argument from incredulity.
Yes, it is, because you have no ground to move forward with, right? I don't know. I just find it frustrating sometimes.
I mean, obviously, my problem with the argument from incredulity is I can't believe
that you don't get it.
Yeah, right? I can't believe that an omni-god could exist. I can't believe it.
See, where I get where you're going, but that's where I've adjusted my whole thing. That's my paradigm shift to I have a low confidence level.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't believe it. No.
It's not that I can't believe it even.
No, yeah, no.
It's just,
I totally
it's
could.
fine. It's fine for me to say that I don't believe it.
True enough. Yeah.
But it's less fine for me to say that I can't believe it.
Yeah, if you were to say I can't, yeah.
That's me closing my mind saying, there is no way that you can ever convince me.
How do I? Yeah. So that's sort of essay, like the street epistemology view of I know you saw the name too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. For Blue on Black by Five Finger Death Punch. That's the song you guys aren't listening to because you're listening to us right now. I hope we know how to turn it back to radio and make the sound go back. Jess is listening.
Yeah,
anyway. He'll fix it when we walk out the door.
Why is it so loud outside?
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess, am I optimistic for 2021? Am I realistic?
If we had a better constructed calendar, probably.
Yeah, right. If there were like say 30 days of each month.
Yeah, we could have like 12 months, 30 days each, and then the 5 and or 6 day adjustment period at the end.
Yes, every year, and then we can take away all religious holidays, and then you can actually just pick 6 of those days and intersperse them throughout your calendar year, or 5 days.
Well, they're already interspersed right now.
Yeah.
I say we put them all at the end.
You sure you don't want to put them like weather-wise, like just sort of like nice? Yes, but let's move the beginning to July, and the end is June, and so in between in Smarch.
In Smarch,
we can lousy Smarch weather, stupid discount calendars. We can have that 6 days in the summer. So
can I shave off your December beard? Sure, but only if I can shave off your January.
That's funny. December beard. Is that after the?
It's Movember, December, January.
That's hardwood. I love it. All right.
The carpet match the drapes?
Yeah, the carpet matches the crazy. Does that count?
Now, if we haven't offended somebody yet, we're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Oh, I saw some horrible rapper today, too.
Was it like blowing down the streets?
Yeah, almost. Yes, the bag in a tree is the flag of Lethbridge. No, he was like an ad for this dude who was like, all disappointed with liberals, apparently. I don't know. I love that the algorithm is broken for my YouTube because of the random crap I watch. So it actually thought, hey, he might like this. And I guess I enjoyed it.
So they weren't wrong.
They weren't entirely wrong. But for me to like point and laugh at my own phone, I'm like, oh my God, you did! Oh my, look at you! He's got the diamond teeth and a diamond stud here, and cornrows. And facts don't care about feelings. I mean, that's true, but like, don't throw it out there like.
Why not?
Like it's, I don't know, throwing out mad ellipsis like.
That's perfect.
I know. Yeah,
more rap should be that. I would listen to more rap if more rap was that.
My son, who actually can free rap like that, does find the immense humor throwing down mad ellipsis like. See, we have YouTube. People can see us.
Yeah.
Or Facebook. We did stuff. We'll have to learn that.
We're wiggity whack.
Our engagement right away.
Yeah.
We dress like this often.
Yeah.
Sometimes toque. Sometimes, yep. He's just. He's not quite full city. He's just sit.
Yep.
It really does just seem like the letter fell off. I'm sorry. Unless you know what computer information technology is, you're just... And I only know because I know you. I would just be... Yeah, Kagit. Oh, Kagit girl.
Yep, that's us.
Is that a thing that happens anymore?
I don't know.
Like Brownies, Boy Scout... I know Brownie still goes. I know the girls are still active. Are boys scared to go because of...
I don't know.
Like, I don't know if that still goes on. I am optimistic that there are groups for the youth that are safe for the youth to group with.
I think cadets is probably still okay.
Or is that a realistic expectation that kids should just be able to go join whatever activity they want to be and have a good time?
I feel that's realistic.
See, or I watch a commercial from the States, Jason Stone, injury lawyer, and it says things like, should I trust that my insurance company will do the best for me? Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Like the answer to that question is yes, but they flash up a big, no, you shouldn't, right? Like, no, you should. Like, otherwise you picked the wrong insurance company, as far as I can tell. As opposed to, I need a better lawyer to sue for my whatever. So it was weird to me that they're underselling a feature that, to realistically, right? Should I trust my insurance company? Yes. Otherwise, I've picked the wrong one, right? Like,
if you don't trust your insurance company,
get a new one.
Get a new one,
right?
I don't trust my doctor. I will get a new one.
I love when people say that to me. I don't like my doctor. Those are the words out of my face. Get a new one. Well, what? Like, seriously.
It's not like there's only one in town.
Like when you go to the mechanic and you're like, hey, I need an oil change. He's like, well, I kind of changed the oil, but I used the old filter. You're not going to go back. You're not. So when some doctor treats you the same way, when some YouTuber gives you that kind of usefulness, why go back? Why go back?
Yeah. So
I mean, other than the second chance I love to give humanity. Hey, you screwed up on that oil change. Here's your chance to make it better.
Yeah. I will actually let you know that I disapprove of the thing that you did last time, just so you're aware that I know and you're aware that.
And others might disapprove. Together, going forward, we can have
hey, maybe we could all be better at this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Again, you're adding energy. You're adding energy to the system, right? You're trying to get the system to spin up the way you want it to.
I'm a little optimistic that way. I am optimistic that my customers that have a complaint will complain to me so that I can remedy that and prevent it from happening in the future. Yeah. Nothing hurts a business more than the customer that just walks away. Because they don't just walk away. They tell all their friends why they just walked away.
And I have. I have walked away big from some places. Yeah, to the point where actually an entire family of automobile buyers completely walked away from a dealership.
Yay.
Forever.
Well, at least one family. It's like your family, the family you impacted that was a loyal customer of theirs.
Yep. Yeah.
Who I believe just got his name added to a sign of people.
Maybe.
No, there was a big buyout or something in the accounting world too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Logs.
Ah, cool.
He's a named dude. He's the dude. Separate.
Different.
Cool.
Different day.
Different families. Very cool.
Yeah. So I guess I tend to plan a lot of things like a pessimist. Like I tend to look at things going, what the hell's going to go wrong now? Yeah. Right? I always hope that it's going to work great. Like I always my personal hope is that it will work well.
So the credo of expect the best, plan for the worst?
Yeah.
Got it.
Right?
That's how I live.
I'm a software developer.
Oh, yeah.
I actually actively assume that anyone using my software is a complete jackass and will be out to break my software. And I try and come up with all the ways that somebody could be terrible.
That was the other cool thing I tweeted that I shared on my tweet. The Chinese.
That's a very short tweet.
Have mastered.
Oh.
Well,
there's more.
I say mastered, but like could beam to a satellite quantum key delivery.
I saw that.
And to me that's impressive layer of security. It is slow. It is pedantically slow. It is 80s dial-up slow. But once the key is delivered, dare you, as soon as you look at the key, it changes the key. Observer principle applies to the quantum key. So then as soon as you've looked at one key, both keys are now null and void because one's corrupt.
Yeah, which is great.
So it makes a nice tight delivery package. So it still has to deliver the package over regular internet lines and whatever. Yeah. That's very cool. But the key delivery and security system is a new layer. Obviously, quantum computers will be able to defeat quantum keys, but we don't have all of those layers yet, right?
Yeah.
So it's new enough technology that it is basically secure.
Or it could be too secure because all you need to do to break it right now is look at it, right? So all you need to do is build an observer. You don't even have to care what the
Oh, it doesn't
payload
have to-
is.
Nope. Yeah, you can just corrupt each file before it gets there.
You just observe the quantum transfer
I came
and
up
break
with-
it.
I had the same solution. It's the same as my solution to, well, what if they launch a bunch of drones? I'm like, I rip the door off my microwave. I fire a pen in the hole that is the safety. I aim it and I go bzzzt, and I freaking like EMP those fuckers. Like, I don't understand where this is like. Oh my God! No, there are some serious low-tech solutions to
when a swarm of drones comes at me, I throw out the fishing net.
Yeah, well, they're pretty clever. Like, I've watched the.
They're not.
Some of them are very good.
Yeah.
But they are. I mean, there's still susceptible. It's the same when I watch BattleBots, right? Hey, what if I just put burlap all over the outside of my thing and you send your spinny thing at me and then it just goes. And then I just like push you over to the fire trap or whatever, right?
Yep.
Apparently, no, low-tech solutions are not cool in the robot arena.
If you have a walking robot in BattleBots, you actually get your weight allowance is increased. You're allowed more weight if you have an ambulatory robot.
You almost just want like just a slow-moving grinder that just hammers some dude. Then at that point, never thought of that.
Yeah, buddy of mine. His dream life is to go ahead and
build a BattleBot.
And actually compete. He wants me to help, but he won't let me drive, which is probably good because I've driven remote control cars and I am terrible. That's not my thing.
I enjoy the ones with the little sidecar.
Yep.
Little helper cars.
Yeah.
I've actually seen them make a difference.
Once.
Yep.
Yep.
At least. So
right.
that's it. That's it for us for today.
We are optimistic
That you'll be with us. Yeah.
that you will be here and we will be here 2 weeks from now.
I am realistic that is not such an optimistic prediction. I am pessimistic that we won't be here.
Yeah, I don't not like the idea that we won't not be here.
I can't not be loving this.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Well, okay, to be
Oh,
honest.
ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Sorry, I have to change that up so I don't get sued.
That's right, because we're like streaming on Facebook. Gotta watch out. We're
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
now totally subject to.
I'm liking it.
No, fair use laws. We are allowed to, because we are making demonstration, observation, etc. We're allowed to quote,
Oh.
as long as we don't directly play clips.
Da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.
Directly clipping, we can only use like 10-second segments. So like on CinemaSins, where they put little skips right in the middle of the clip. That's how they get around it. It's very clever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll just throw the lick in there just for fun. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.
Yeah, nice.
It's everywhere.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
So, yep, this is us. I'm Steven.
I'm Jeff.
This is our faces.
There we are. You've seen us.
I suppose if we look at the camera instead of our picture,
Oh, ah.
because we're amateurs. Bye, everybody.